Hey everyone, my name is Andy Ternay, and I am the guy who created the Ancient European Swords Facebook page way back in December of 2012. And the reason I created this page is simply because, as a fan of the more ancient and less commonly known European swords, I was a little bit tired of every sword discussion essentially turning into katanas destroy everything and katanas are badass. There is nothing wrong with katanas. Katanas are masterpieces of Japanese weaponry. However, they are not the be all, end all of swords or weaponry. So, I wanted to focus on Europe, which is my heritage, my ancestry, and where my curiosity and interest lay. And when I started studying European weapons, what was I finding? High medieval, great crusader swords, long swords, rapiers, falchions, and they are wonderful European weapons. But they weren't doing it for me. I like the stuff from prehistory all the way up to just that edge where prehistory becomes written history and we have documents. And what I'm talking about are the ancient swords. I want to know about the weaponry of the Indo-European peoples when they first started hammering bits of copper to make blades. I want to know what the Iron Age people were doing when they were smelting iron. And I want to know what made them design such crazy and interesting shapes. What were they thinking? How did they fight with them? How did they use them? What did they mean? If you had one, did that mean you were a prince? Or did that mean you were a warlord? I wanted to get that kind of information, and it just really wasn't available on the web at that time. One of the most interesting things to me about weapons is how they track the history of metallurgy. In other words, how they track with the history of what materials the cultures were using at the time, how they developed their technologies. And one thing about weaponry is weaponry has always been very prestigious. I mean, even to this day and age, people collect weapons, guns with Damascus hand-forged barrels, and they look for pearl grips on their Colt 1911. It's a prestige thing. And that was true back then, too. So if you wanted to see the very best of what the metal workers of the time were doing, you had to look at the weapons. So, that's kind of what got me going on there. I also kind of felt the glory of ancient Europe was overlooked. You hear a little bit about the ancient Greeks, and you hear a lot nowadays, at least, about the Vikings. But everyone in between kind of falls into this gray void of nothing. So as you guys know, on this page, what I like to do is I like to post the weapons that I see in European museums. I try and keep track of current makers who attempt to reproduce somewhat historically representative pieces that exemplify what the craftsmen of Europe were doing at that time. And as you know, we don't sell swords on this page or axes or anything, and no sales is going to continue. My goal is to promote these artists, these craftsmen, and occasionally even these mass production companies, which really do a superb job with making these exciting weapons. Some of the things that we've got coming up in the future are I'm going to start doing an individual review of the weapons in my collection. And I'm hoping to have like the Mindelheim handled by the time I get to that, but we'll deal with it. But one at a time, I'd like to talk about the people who might have used it, what technology they used to make it, what kind of quality was the steel, or was it even steel? Was it just wrought iron? I mean, there is a lot of fascinating stuff there. And I also want to tell you a little bit about who made my reproductions, and do I like them, and what's good about them. And I'm hoping to browbeat the other admins to do the same with their collections. We'll see how that goes. They're kind of selfish people who want to spend time with their family and children and silly stuff like that. I mean, who the hell wants that when you got these? So, another thing we got coming up is t-shirts. Martin, one of our admins, is designing a t-shirt logo, so we want to do that. The funds for t-shirt sales will go towards making trips to museums, interviewing expert smiths, viewing collections, getting behind the scenes tours at like the British Museum and so forth, so that we can show you the really badass work of Europe past. I'm hoping to get some time to put together albums of the various things that I've photographed over the years, so that they're useful research items for people. I want smiths nowadays to be able to refer to them. I want people who practice HEMA to be able to refer to them. I want people to be able to learn from this page and do exciting shit with what they learn. The next and most exciting thing is, while we won't sell weapons, we're gonna start raffling them. I am gonna start hand making things like Dane axes, Say axes, and who knows, swords. And the goal will be something like this. I put up an item that I finished, and for 20 bucks or something similar, you buy a chance to win that item in a raffle. And the goal with that is, again, fund research, fund trips, fund film equipment, things like that, so that we can do really cool stuff with this page. Some much longer term goals for this website, which is why I actually created it, is I really want to recruit admins from areas of Europe that we don't do a good job representing. Poland, Romania, Greek. I don't know anything about those places and their weapons. And I'm hoping to find some people who are really enthused about those areas, those histories, and will tell us all about it and share with us photos of their collection and other people's collections that they've seen and how they're used in museums. And I mean, you get the idea. I'm obviously really excited about it. Another thing that I really want to do, and this was kind of the end goal, I'm trying to build a database of the weaponry of ancient Europe. That's what I'm really trying to do. I want this to be a resource for smiths, production companies, any people who want to reproduce these weapons or learn more about how they were used. That's what I'm trying to create, very slowly and piecemeal. Anyway, that's what I got for this time. The next video I'm going to be doing is going to be looking at the Celtic anthropomorphic swords and daggers. Throughout history, we'll look at some of the ones in museums, we'll look at the metallurgy, we'll look at everything that we got about them. And it's going to be a kick-ass video, and I'm hoping that you will subscribe to the Ancient European Swords YouTube channel, which is brand new, and I'm hoping you'll like us on Facebook, and hey, we're looking forward to talking to you again. Thank you.